Hello and welcome. So here it is, the IniBuilds Airbus A350. I've waited a bit with talking about this aircraft as such. I wanted to spend some time with it, and I wanted to give IniBuilds some time to push out the first few bug fixes and patches, because I know that's what usually happens when an aircraft like this comes to market. So I've had this aircraft now for a bit, I've flown it for a bit, and I would like to give you my honest opinion. I think we've all been really hyped about this aircraft. We expected a lot. I expected a lot when I saw what was coming down the line. And I don't think the expectations we had were unrealistic, because we were essentially told that this is a new level of simulation and that we can expect something very special. So does it live up to the hype? What are my honest thoughts? Just to make this clear, two things. I am a real-world Airbus pilot, but I fly the Airbus A320. However, the company I fly for does operate the A350. So our procedures are harmonized with the A350 series. So I think I have at least a little bit of an insight in how this aircraft should work. And the second thing is I've only tested it in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, not 24. We can get into that a bit later. Okay, so let's take a look. So right off the bat, I think we can all agree that this is an incredibly good looking aircraft. The lines and everything, the detail in the modeling is just great. And I have to applaud IniBuilds for all the effort that has gone into the 3D modeling of this aircraft. Texturing as well, the textures included with the aircraft are of very high quality. There's quite a few of them, some are missing, but that's okay, we'll get them from elsewhere. So all in all, from the outside, this is actually a very good looking aircraft. Same goes for the flight deck, which I think is very, very well done. All the texturing and the 3D modeling is absolutely superb. I think it looks great. It's an amazing space to sit in, to look around, and gives you a real feel of how modern and advanced this aircraft really is. So all in all, I think there's a lot to like here. The aircraft flies pretty well. The EFB is very well designed. You can easily take this from A to B and enjoy yourself and have a nice and pleasant flight. Some people have said they have a bit of a problem with landing the aircraft. Now, I personally have not had that experience at all. In fact, hand flying this aircraft is one of my favorite things. I find it very stable, very predictable. It actually reminds me a lot of the Airbus A320neo, which I also fly in the real world. There are a lot of similarities. So for me personally, hand flying this aircraft is it's absolute joy, really. Also landing, no problem. The only thing I would say is usually around touchdown, there's always a real drop in performance. And it's weird because the rest of the flight, everything is okay. But when I come into land, for some reason, just before touchdown, you can see it here maybe, the performance just drops, and I'm not quite sure why that is. And that's a bit annoying. There is one thing I have noticed with the flight model though. So we have here a Qatar A350 1000. I've made it very heavy, lots of people, lots of fuel. We're going to accelerate down the runway now. And as you can see, when we lift off, the aircraft does this weird floating off the runway thing. Now usually the nose wheel should come up first and then the main gear should follow quite a bit later. But as you can see here, it's almost like the aircraft floats off the runway, which is a bit weird. I'm not sure. I've looked at videos of the A350 taking off. I've never seen this. So in my opinion, this is a bit of an inaccuracy with the flight model. In addition to this, I've had two crash to desktop with this aircraft. That's unusual because for me, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 is a very stable platform, and I've had one occasion where the aircraft would not intercept the localizer. Everything was set up correctly. It should have just intercepted the localizer, but it didn't. It just carried on flying through, and I had to do it manually. So these are all fairly small things that I think are forgivable and they can be fixed fairly easily, but I would like to talk about something with this aircraft that personally I find is a bit more of a problem. So we are cruising here along over the Alps at 20,000 feet. Everything is going well. And you know me, you know this channel, we poke aircraft. We want to see what happens when things go wrong. So this is obviously something I did, and I expected certain things to happen. So let me show you what I mean. We switch off these two generators here. As expected, we get a master caution and we get an ECAM warning. Also, the electric page is automatically displayed here, which is correct. And then all we need to do is essentially clear the failure. So the aircraft tells us please switch the generators back on because it knows we switched them off. That's all correct, but we don't want to switch them on. We want to leave them off. So what I'm going to do now is clear the failure, and we clear the second failure, which is the other generator, and now I would expect the status page to come up. I've seen this on every single Airbus, but it's not there, and that is unusual because usually all our procedures revolve around going through the ECAM and then landing on the status page where the Airbus tells us everything that is now not working, any limitations we have, etc. So who knows, maybe they just forgot to link this together and you have to open the status page yourself. And we can do that, of course, so just press status, but the aircraft tells me that the status is normal, and that is unusual. I mean, like I said, I fly the A320, and who knows, maybe the A350 really thinks that this is normal, but I doubt that. So two generators off and no status. So that was the first thing that surprised me a bit. But let's go a bit further. So let's introduce another electrical failure, but this time make it a little bit more serious by switching off all kinds of buses and the batteries. And this really should trigger the Airbus to tell me that something is wrong. So let's do that now. Let's switch all this off. We get a master caution, we get the electric page, it shows us that everything here at the top is offline, and once again we are going to clear all the malfunctions, all the ECAM actions, and see what happens. Yeah, and once again no status page, so let's ask the aircraft is everything okay by pressing the status button, and it says everything is normal. And I'm sorry, but that is not how an Airbus works, and I really doubt that the A350 would tell us everything is normal in this particular configuration. So there's something missing here, and yeah, but let's give IniBuilds one more chance. So maybe it's just the electric panel and the way the electrics are simulated that is causing a problem here. So let's do something else. Let's come down to the air panel up here and let's switch off the engine bleeds. I switch off both of them and then see what happens. Again, we see the correct thing displayed here. So this is actually all really well done. Once again, we clear the failures. And once again, no status page. And if we ask the aircraft, everything is normal. And this, I'm sorry, yeah, it's not good, because on the Airbus you work your way through the ECAM, then you end with the status page, and that's a very important part of our procedures because it will tell you what limitations the aircraft now has, whether an auto land is possible or not, whether you have an extended landing distance, and these are very important things for us pilots. So yeah, for me this is something fairly fundamental that's missing here. Last thing I want to talk about is the sound. So some people have been very critical about the sound. Personally, I don't think it's so bad. The only thing I would say is when the aircraft transitions from one sound to another, sometimes those transitions can be rather abrupt. And also, I'm gonna be honest with you, like I said, I fly the A320neo, and especially here like this, the aircraft is incredibly quiet. I would have thought the A350 is even quieter than this. You have much bigger engines and they're further away from the cockpit. Yeah, so if you listen to this, it's quite noisy. Not sure how accurate this is. So sound is okay, could do with some tweaks, but I'm not as disappointed as some other people. I think it's fine. And that last sentence pretty much sums it up for me, to be honest with you. I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with the aircraft. It's not that it's unflyable or that it's unusable, but I don't know, it's just not what I expected. To be honest, I don't think it's what we were promised. If this would be a $40 aircraft to take you from A to B, it'd be amazing, it'd be great, but it's not. It was promised as a high fidelity aircraft where you can simulate failures and all sorts, and it's not cheap. It's really not cheap. I paid 90 euros for this aircraft, which makes it one of the most expensive aircraft I've ever bought. So I have mixed feelings about this. Now, IniBuilds usually is very good. I expect that they're gonna fix a lot of things and add a few things. Whether they're gonna really redo the whole cockpit and, you know, do the status pages and all that, I do not know. We'll have to wait and see. Right now, I can only talk about the aircraft as it is now. I have to be perfectly honest with you. It's a good aircraft. I still enjoy flying it, but I would have wished I could have paid a bit less for it. Because if I compare this to something like the Phoenix A320, yeah, there's just a lot of stuff missing. Again, look, I'm an A320 pilot, not an A350 pilot, but according to Airbus, my type rating is basically the same as the A350. All I'm supposed to do is a short conversion course, and then I'm able to fly this aircraft. So I'm pretty sure the status and all that works exactly the same in every Airbus. I know it's the same on the 330, 340 and 380. It would really surprise me if they change the entire philosophy on the 350. So I do think I got this right. If not, if there's an A350 pilot watching this, please let me know. I'm happy to be corrected. But the way I see it now, there's just some bits missing. I haven't even gone into all of them. On some of my flights, the aircraft has done some weird stuff. Again, these can be fixed. Hopefully will be fixed. But right now, it's okay. Like I said, it's fine. The aircraft is fine, but it's fine worth $90 or 90 euros in my case. That is something you have to decide. And I will leave it at that. I'm not a fan of bashing people or anything like that. I've been involved in commercial products, add-ons for Microsoft Flight Simulator. I know how hard it is. I know how much work goes into this. And I want to applaud for IniBuilds for everything good here, because there is a lot of good. But in terms of marketing, they just hyped this up so much. I think we were expecting so much from this aircraft. So it does feel like we didn't quite get what we were promised. But who knows, maybe in a few months' time I will change my opinion completely and will recommend this aircraft to you and say you gotta buy this. This is amazing. And I hope that's what's going to happen. And I'm gonna leave it with that. So thank you very much for watching. Next week we'll be back to our normal schedule where we talk about aircraft systems. I hope this was okay that for 1 week we departed from that and spoke about something else, but to me this was an aircraft that so many people were waiting for. It was so hyped. I thought it's worth having a video about it. Okay, so once again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, all the best. Bye bye.